Hello everyone. Welcome to online edu classes of Brilliant Public School by Kailash Kumar sir. Today in this video we are going to learn chapter 9 of class 5 English. It is basically a poem entitled Dear Mr. Examiner by Gareth Owen. Let's see the introduction of the poet. Gareth Owen was born in the year 1936 and died in the year 2002. He was a children's book writer and poet. He was born in Ansdale, Lancashire, England. Let me add some more information. Children, Gareth Owen was not good at studies, so he left the school at the age of 16. But later on, he wrote many poems on children and became famous for his works. He taught English and drama at Bardsley College. He wrote several poems on children. His poems were published in more than 100 anthologies. Children, an anthology is a collection of writings by different writers published together in one book. So, his poems were published in more than 100 such anthologies. Salford Road was his first published collection of poems. His second book, Song of the City, won the Signal Poetry Award. He published 4 volumes of poetry and 4 novels, as well as several books for younger children. He also won the Welsh Academy Spoken Poetry Award and the National Speak a Poem Award. Looking on his achievements, his first achievement was Salford Road, a collection of poems, and the second achievement was Song of the City, for which he also won Signal Poetry Award. Let's move further. Now, let's see about the poem. Dear Mr. Examiner is an informal letter written by a student in the form of a poem. It is addressed to the examiner. It is a humorous poem written from a child's point of view. Humorous in the sense it is very funny poem. And this poem is addressed to the examiner, to the teacher who will evaluate the answer sheet. To that person, this poem has been addressed to by the child, by the main character of our poem, who is a child, a student who is attempting an examination. It describes a student's thoughts in the examination hall when she or he is unable to write the answers to the questions. So it was very embarrassing situation for this child because it was his examination and he don't know the answer of any question given asked in the question paper. Gareth himself suffered from such conditions as described in the poem. While teaching in a school, he found out that none of the poems talked about the ordinary and simple, plain things in life, so he penned his own. So, it is told that Gareth Owen suffered from the same situation, the same conditions when he was a child, when he was studying in the school. So, this poem is basically about a child who is unable to answer the questions asked in the question paper. And while teaching in a school, Gareth Owen, when he was teaching in a school, he found that whatever poems he read in the books, they were not about the life of a child, of a student. So he thought that why should I not write my own poems? So he began mm, writing his own poems. So he penned his own poems. Dear Mr. Examiner. Now let's begin with the poem, children. Thank you so much for your questions. I have read them most carefully through, but there isn't a single one of them that I know the answer to. Now, in the first line itself, in the first stanza of the poem, the child or the student who is writing the examination is addressing to the examiner, to the subject teacher who has framed the question paper. He is telling that thank you so much for your questions. I have read them most carefully through. That he is telling that I have read the question paper thoroughly and I am very much thankful to you for your such questions Such lovely questions, but I don't know a single one of them. Means the boy is telling, the child is telling that I don't know the answer of a single question given asked in the question paper. So finally it is told that, but there isn't a single one of them that I know the answer to. I have written my name as instructed. So, children, you very well know that before attempting the answers, there are many instructions, details you have to fill in your answer sheet. So, after filling that instructions, let's see what the child wants to say. I have written my name as instructed. Put the year, the month, and the day. But after I had finished doing that, I had nothing further to say. Further, he's telling that he has done with his instructions part, the details part. He has written the year, the month, the day, the class, the section, roll number, and all many things. But after finishing up writing that all details, now the further task was to write the answers, but he don't know the answers. Instructed in means directed to do something. So I thought I would write you a letter, fairly informally, about what I can see from my desk here and what it's like to be me. So now the child is telling that, well, it's clear that I don't know the answer of the questions. So what should I write now? Because he has to write something in the answer sheet. So he thinks, he plans, he makes up his mind to write an informal letter expressing his views about the exam, about the uh, pains suffering by a child. So he tells that, so I thought I would write you a letter, fairly informally, an informal letter written in a fair way, that is called fairly informally, about what I can see from my desk here. Now he is thinking to write about all those things which he can see from his desk where he is sitting in the examination hall and writing the answers. Maybe from a window which is there in the classroom, he will look outside and write about those all things, or maybe that he can imagine on his own by recalling the things which he is doing at his home. So he can write about all those things. Now, in this stanza, we are going to see the other classmates of the child. Mandy has written 10 pages, but it's probably frightful guff. And Angela Smith is copying the answers of her cuff. What he's telling further? He's telling about the other classmates like Mandy, a boy who has written 10 pages, but it's useless things he has written. The silly or stupid ideas he has filled up his answer sheet. The waste things he has written. And about Angela Smith, she is copying the answers from her cuff. Cuff is the part of a sleeve that fits around the wrist, as you can see in the picture here. Guff means silly or stupid ideas, nonsense ideas. Cuff, the part of a sleeve that fits around the wrist. Now let's see further. Miss Quinlan is marking our homework. The clock keeps ticking away. I suppose for anyone outside, it's just another day. Now what is told here, children? Miss Quinlan is marking the homework of each child. She is going to each and everyone's place and she is marking the homework. And the clock is continuously moving on its own pace. The constant movement of a clock in its normal manner is termed here as the clock keeps ticking away. I suppose for anyone outside, it's just another day. He is thinking that for any other people who is outside the classroom or outside the school, it's just a usual day as it comes daily. And here, as Miss Quinlan is marking their homework, so now it's a very problematic situation for him because he himself know the condition of his homework. So let's move further. There will be mother going on errands, grandmothers sipping tea, unemployed men doing crosswords or watching Crown Court on TV. Errands means to go out somewhere to buy something. So the mother might be going to the errands outside the home to buy some things, and grandmothers they might be sipping tea, and unemployed men, the jobless people, those who don't have any work to do, they might be busy in solving the crossword puzzles, and some people might be busy in Crown Court, watching Crown Court on TV. The children, Crown Court was an afternoon television show that ran in the United Kingdom from 1972 to 1984. So he is sitting in the examination hall and he is imagining about these all things, that my mother will be going to errands to buy something, maybe vegetables or something else, and grandmothers at their home is enjoying and sipping tea, and unemployed men solving crossword puzzles, and some of the people watching Crown Court on TV. So these all things he is imagining and including in his letter. The rain has finally stopped here. The sun has started to shine, and in a back garden in Sefton Road, a housewife hangs shirts on the line. What he is telling, that the rain has finally stopped now. Now no more rain is falling now, and the sun has also started to shine brightly. And in the back garden in Sefton Road is the name of a road in Liverpool, in England. Maybe it is that particular place where the child lives. So he's specifying this particular road. So, and in a back garden in Sefton Road, a housewife hangs shirts online. So he is telling about the other activities performed by other people. Uh, he's also telling about a housewife, about a woman who might be hanging the wet clothes to be dry on the sunlight. A class flies past to play tennis. The cathedral clock has just pealed. A mower chugs backwards and forwards up on the hockey field. Now he is telling further about the class, means other class, that now they are moving towards the tennis field, the tennis ground to play tennis, and the cathedral clock has just pealed. And the cathedral is the main church of a particular area, which is under the control of a bishop. And that cathedral clock has just made a loud sound. You very well know how loudly the sound comes from a cathedral clock. Okay, so and along with it, a mower chugs backwards and forwards up on the hockey field. And a mower means a grass cutter machine. Chug, to cut down noisily with difficulty. And the mower, the machine is going forward and coming backwards and producing very loud sound and cutting the grasses, trimming the grasses on the hockey field. So these all things he is including in the that informal letter. Now let's see what happens further. Miss Quinlan's just read what I have written. Her face is an absolute mask. Before she collects the papers in, I have sort of favor to ask. Absolute mask means, children, no clear expression shown. Means when Miss Quinlan read the answers or the things which the child has written on his homework, so she's totally, means no clear expression was there on her face. That's why it is told as absolute mask. And before she collects the papers in, there are many questions which he actually wanted to ask from the Miss Quinlan, the teacher, but he could not ask the questions. I thought your questions were lovely. I have only myself to blame. But couldn't you give me some marks for writing the date and my name? So, blame means a complaint or criticize or to charge for something, and here he is blaming, he is complaining, he is criticizing to himself that it's my fault that I have not prepared for the exam properly, I have not studied properly. But no doubt your questions are lovely and very simple. In case I have studied properly, I would have answered all the questions. But unfortunately, due to lack of preparation, he can blame himself only. But couldn't you give me some marks for writing the date and my name? Now, finally, he is pleading. He is making a request to the examiner, to the teacher whose subject exam was there on that particular date, that can't you give me some marks for writing just the date and my name? So, this is the end of the poem, children. Hope you all have enjoyed the poem. And this poem uh, is basically about those children who did not or who do not study properly and directly go and start appearing the exam. So I hope you all will not repeat the same thing in your exam, and study well. Okay, children. So thank you.